Hey guys, Josh here and welcome back to Rune Factory 5, and in today's video I would like to share with you 10 things I wish I knew when I started playing this game. These are all little things that the game doesn't really tell you about, so I had to figure them out by myself. Some of them are a little bit more useful than others, but hopefully you will learn a thing or two with this video and it's gonna make your Rune Factory 5 experience a little bit easier. So we're gonna start with a tip that's actually a little bit embarrassing because it was working the same way in Rune Factory 4 and I played that game for quite some time. And I never realized you could do that. So until very recently, I was always picking up items by pressing A on every single item, just like this, like going around and pressing A. And it was very time consuming. But what I found out is that actually if you hold A, you can actually pick up things so much faster. You don't have to press A every time. And if you walk over the same items, it's just gonna pick everything up. So it's really useful, especially for the different herbs, the different grass. So you can just pick up everything very quickly and then you put them in the fertilizer bin. I'm sure a lot of you guys already knew this, but there's probably a few people like me who this tip is really gonna help. So that's my first tip. Now let's go to our second tip, and this one I'm pretty sure was not in Rune Factory 4. So if you go to the calendar, you will notice that some festivals are in red, but other festivals are marked in blue. So if you just click on them, for example, this one is the Bufamu contest, you can see your high score and you can decide to relive that memory, and that's gonna allow you to actually do the minigame one more time. Just keep in mind that when you do this, you're not gonna get any rewards or anything as if you were doing the festival normally. It's really just for fun if you want to either practice or you just want to do the minigame because you like it. And I think that's a really good thing that they included in the game because I like most of the festivals. They're a lot of fun. So yeah, just go on the calendar and check out all of the festivals. Of course, you need to have done them at least once, but after that, you're gonna unlock them on the calendar. And yeah, so that's my second tip. All right, so for tip number 3, you might have noticed a little bit earlier, but I've got all of these trees on my little field. So there's 4 different types of trees in Rune Factory 5. There's apple, orange, grape, and twinkle trees. And by doing the different requests, upgrading the stores and everything, you will eventually be able to buy all of these tree seeds in the stores. However, there is an easy way to get all of these seeds for free. So I'm going to show you how. So there's 2 different areas you can go daily in order to get a chance to get a seed. And the first area is around this little pond right here. So you just walk to this tree right here. And if you see a icon pop up like this, you just press A. And so today I just got a branch, but it's gonna reset every day and you might have a chance to get a tree seed, but not today. So let's go check the other spot, which is right here. Sometimes you're gonna get nothing at all. Sometimes you're gonna get a branch or something, but if you're lucky, you're gonna get tree seeds. And as you can see today, I got a twinkle tree seeds. So it's completely random. Sometimes you can get apple, orange, or grape. And if I were to come back later today, it wouldn't work. So you really have to come back the next day and you're gonna get another chance at getting seeds. So these are the 2 places where you can get tree seeds. So just keep an eye on those places every day. And then once you've got your seeds, you can just plant them. So they're gonna take 4 squares and they're gonna take a while to grow, maybe a month or so, but it's gonna depend on the stats of your soil. I'm actually planning a whole video on trees. So if you have any questions about trees, let me know in the comments. But now let's go to tip number 4. And this one is related to trees as well. So all of the trees can actually give you wood. So one way to get wood in this game is by chopping these little stumps that are gonna spawn on your farm. However, you will need a lot of wood if you want to upgrade all the shops and everything. You will really need a lot. And one thing you can do is you can actually chop all of your trees to get wood from them. However, what it does, so for example, let's go with this twinkle tree right here. We're gonna check the health of the tree. By the way, if you upgrade any of your tools using a magnifying glass, which is what I did to this watering can, your tool is gonna allow you to see the stats of your soil. So the HP of this tree currently is at 244. So let's just keep those numbers in mind. And I'm gonna chop the tree a little bit and get some wood. And from these twinkle trees, actually, you also get a chance of getting this Glita Ojet. And this item, when you add it to a weapon, it's actually gonna increase the range of the weapon. So if you want extra range on your weapon, that's a really good item to have. So let's just chop some wood like this. All right, let's pick up our wood and let's check our stats again. And now the HP of my tree is at 232, and I got a little bit less than 40 pieces of lumber, so you can really get a lot of lumber very quickly with this. However, of course, there's a problem, and if it's the HP of your tree goes down to 0, then your tree is gonna die. And since trees take an extremely long time to grow, you don't want your tree to die. However, if you have corn or 4-leaf clover or even the little withered grass, you can put that on your tree, and then you use your hoe like this. And then if we look at the stats, as you can see, the health of the tree is back to 255. So I could pretty much just chop this tree all day and make sure its HP never reaches 0. And I'm gonna get a lot of lumber in no time. Tip number 5 is also a way to get lumber or a wide variety of valuable materials. And so for this, you have to come to the crystal shop. So for this tip, you need to talk with Heinz. So even though Lucas is working at the crystal shop, he's not gonna sell these items. So you need to make sure you talk with Heinz. And the thing with Heinz is that most of the time he's not here. What I found is that usually he comes in around 3 p.m. So just wait until 3 p.m. and make sure he's here. But before you talk to him, I would always recommend saving. So I'm just gonna go home and save. Alright, so I just saved. I'm gonna go back to the crystal shop. Alright, so now I'm gonna talk with him, and there should be an option to buy some goods. And you're gonna see there's gonna be a variety of random items. So the more you upgrade the crystal shop, the bigger the selection of items gonna be every day. So currently he's selling 12 different items every day. And these items are kind of completely random, so you don't even need to have shipped these items previously for them to appear in this shop. So a lot of these weapons I never crafted or I never had, but they can still appear in a shop. And one great thing about this is that sometimes Heinz will actually sell lumber and stone, which, as I said earlier, is very useful for upgrading all the different shops. So for example, right now there's nothing I want. So instead of waiting until tomorrow and waiting until 3 p.m. for him to show up again, I can just reload my save file. And after reloading, I'm gonna go back to the shop. The only thing to keep in mind is that it's very important that you save before talking with him, because once you've talked with him and you've seen the items once, it's gonna be the same, so you really need to save beforehand. But now, as you see, I reloaded my save file and the items are different. So sometimes you're gonna get very good crafting materials or very strong weapons, and if you're very lucky, you can get lumber and stone. So yeah, that was my tip number 5. Tip number 6 is something I really wish I had known earlier, and it is that you can actually craft something even if your character has not learned the recipe yet. So sometimes you're going to be watching some videos or guides online about Rune Factory 5, and you're going to want to make some specific recipe for a reason, but you're still early and your character has not learned that recipe quite yet. And it can be disappointing, and sometimes you're trying to grind and trying to learn a lot of recipes, but you still don't have that specific recipe you're looking for. But in a lot of cases, that's not a problem, because actually, even if you have not learned the recipe, you can still make it by using this first option right here at the top, which allows you to cook without having the recipe. For example, I know that the lobster sashimi is just using 1 lobster. So I could just come here in my fridge and pick up some lobster like this, and it's gonna take the same amount of RP. So your character still needs to be a certain level. If you're level 1 and you're trying to craft a level 80 recipe, you're probably not gonna have enough RP. And then you just press OK. And as you can see, I have my delicious lobster sashimi, even if I didn't select the recipe. So it seems pretty simple. And once again, I'm sure a lot of people already knew this, but I didn't know that for the longest time. So I think it's pretty useful to know. And tip level 7 is pretty similar. And that's something that can be confusing because it's different in many farming games. But in Rune Factory 5, a lot of the times, cooked dishes will be more valuable than just the raw vegetables. So it's not the case for all recipes, especially recipes that use a lot of ingredients. That's not always the case. But usually the most simple dishes will be more valuable. So for example, if I take a look at my turnips here, so 1 level 10 turnip can be sold for 60G. But I'm gonna make some pickled turnip with it, and let's see how much it's worth. So my pickled turnip is worth 144, so it's quite a lot more. Let's try with something else. So here I've got some grape jam. So one grape is worth 120. So let's make some jam. And my jam is worth 135. So it's not a huge difference, but it's still a difference. And for example, here I've got this sweet potato. So if I cook it, so if it's not cooked, it's worth 280. But if I cook it, then it's worth 720. So it's like more than 3 times the value of the raw vegetable. So before you rush and sell all of your crops right after harvesting them, just put them in your fridge and like look around your recipes and try a few different things. And a lot of the times, the things that you will cook, even very simple recipes, will be worth a lot more. So just spend some time in the kitchen. It's going to be worth it. All right, so tip number 8. So in Rune Factory 5, when you give handmade gifts to villagers, every 5 gifts you give them, you're actually going to get something in return. And every villager is going to give you something different, but a few villagers will give you things a little bit more valuable than others. So for example, Darok is going to give you a battle hammer every single time. So sometimes it's not going to be such a good weapon, but other times you can get something pretty strong, especially at the beginning. So what I did, I just crafted a ton of broadswords. You could also craft recipes, or it really doesn't matter what it is as long as it is handmade. And so I'm going to give him 5 of these swords. So that's 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to give him the 5th one. So he's going to give me something in return. So he gave me this hammer. So let's take a look at it. So this one has 198 of attack. So it's not very good, but let's keep giving him a little bit more. All right, so let's see what I can get this time. So I got a baseball bat, still not very good. So let's try one more time. So there's really no limit to how many times you can do this per day. You can keep doing this all day and you're always going to get something in return every 5 gifts. So now I've got an ice hammer. It's actually a little bit stronger than the other ones I got. But if you're lucky, you can actually get items that have very good stats. And even if I don't use these items, I can sell them and I'm still going to make a profit. So for example, this ice hammer is worth 780 G. This one is worth 400 compared to my broadswords, which are worth only 23 each. So just kind of transforming my broadswords into random hammers, and I'm making some profits. So Darok is just a really good villager if you want to make some extra money or get some good weapons. Another very good option is Terry, and Terry is going to give you accessories. So you can get really good accessories. One of them that comes into mind is the heart pendant, which is going to double the skill experience that you get, which is gonna make you level up all of your skills way faster. So let's see what I can get this time. So he gave me the amethyst brooch, which actually gives me earth resistance 80% and some magic defense as well. And even if I'm not interested in this item, I can sell it and I'm gonna make 2000 G. So once again, 5000 G for 5 broadswords was definitely worth it. So yeah, Terry and Darok are 2 very good villagers to give items to. If you want, I could make a whole video covering what villagers will give you what in return. But yeah, Terry and Darok are very helpful. Tip number 9 is something you might have already heard in one of my other videos. But if you come to this house right here, so there's lots of empty houses in this area of Rigbarth, but if you come to this one right here, there's actually some people living here, and let's see what they're up to. So if you speak with this person right here, they're actually gonna allow you to change your name, which can be useful if you just feel like changing the name of your character. And you can also change the name of all of your different farm dragons, plus the names of your different barns. So if you ever regret the name of one of your barns or the name of your character or anything like that, you can just come to this house and change it for free. And if you come into the back room right here and you talk to this person, if you have a monster accompanying you, so you have to make sure you have a monster following you, but they're going to be able to tell you about the stats of your monster. So they're going to tell you your monster's strengths and their elemental attributes and their resistance to different status, because these are stats that you don't always see. So for example, here, if I look at this woolly, I can see its resistance to different status effects. And sometimes it can be hard to tell which monster has good stats or bad stats. So yeah, you can bring a monster with you and just talk to this person and they're gonna give you a lot of information on your monster. So yeah, that's a pretty useful little house. Alright, so tip number 10, this one took me quite some time to figure out, but sometimes in the wild, you're gonna see things you can't reach. So as you can see in this tree, there's an apple, an orange, and some grapes. So this tree is growing a lot of different fruits. And sometimes you're also going to see crystals that are just out of reach. And you're wondering how you can get them. Well, actually, if you hold ZL and you wait for your seal spell to charge, you're actually going to be able to aim. And you can actually grab items from a distance. So for example, right here, I'm going to be able to get all of these fruits just like this. So if you ever see something that's out of reach, that's the way to get it. And that was my last tip. So hopefully you learned a few things from this video. If you have any tips for Rune Factory 5 or things you wish you knew when you started playing, please leave them in the comments below and help each other out. Also, please let me know if there's any topic or if you have any questions about Rune Factory 5 or anything you would like me to cover, and I'll make some videos on it. So that's gonna be pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe for more Rune Factory 5 content like this, and I'm gonna see you all in the next video.